We will discuss the Death Star project with leading administrator Evan Kosser and district contractor Gom Eskrist. But first, here's something to get excited about. The latest development on the upcoming spacecraft that is going to entice even the toughest pilots in the fleet, the TIE Phantom. The Phantom is the brainchild of Grand Admiral Marty O'Batch. At first glance, this craft is considered a heavily modified version of a stock V-38 assault fighter. Although it requires 2 pilots to fly, the advantage it has over the older model is the NVID cloaking device. Durability and agility of this prototype will be tested on the planet Dryden. Once tests are completed, Lord Vader is expected to take control of the project and order a full-scale production of the TIE Phantom. Is there a new Death Star underway? It was in the year 35 when the Rebellion initiated their attack plan on the Death Star. Now, 3 years later, we find ourselves still arguing over the idea that another one should take its place. You are getting the information first right here on IGN.
Good evening. I'm Admiral Link Fordina, reporting live from the Mid-Rim territories. 3 years ago, the Death Star, a fully functional research outpost, was destroyed by rebel terrorists. Many people have since raised the question as to whether or not another research outpost should be built. Though many believe that it is an important facility for space exploration and the defense of the Galactic Empire, there are some that are opposed to the reconstruction of the Death Star. Some of the issues surrounding the reconstruction of the outpost are that some believe that the cost of rebuilding is just too high. Others say that there is very limited personnel for manning a new station due to the deaths of the many brave soldiers that lost their lives in the destruction of the original Death Star, and also the fact that no one really knows if we could fully protect the new station from the rebel terrorists until it is complete. There has been an ongoing debate within the Imperial government as to whether or not reconstruction is going to take place. Today in the studio we have Gom Eskrist, a district contractor for the Empire who thinks that the rebuilding of the Death Star is a waste of time and money for all those who are involved. We also have Evan Kosser, a leading Imperial administrator who supports the idea of rebuilding the Death Star, and both will be discussing the pros and cons of reconstruction. We now take you back to Tip Matthew in the studio with our important special guests.
Thank you, Link. The concern is rising, and we are the first to relay to you the progress in this pressing debate. Joined with me today are Gom Eskrist and Evan Kosser, representatives from both sides of this continuing conflict. Thank you for being here, gentlemen. To open this discussion, allow me to ask the big question. Where is the material to construct this massive architecture going to come from?
We're talking about a substantial amount of metal tipped. In fact, no mere group of planets could begin to dream of supplying the Galactic Empire with what it needs to make another. It is a waste. It always has been a waste and always will be.
Waste? Waste? On the contrary, I believe that the Empire has the power and the right to obtain anything it needs to further the great cause for control over the rebellion.
Yeah, right. The first Death Star proved that there was no great control. And as it was, the proton torpedoes that were fired through the rebels' gun detonated the entire battle station.
Now, it is questionable whether there was a flaw in design, but it's important to note that we have learned from our mistakes and have guaranteed the next station to be invincible. Unlimited power.
Speaking of unlimited power, where was this superior technology obtained?
Well, Tip, the late Governor Tarkin, who had experts who improved the 30-year-old Geonesian separatist technology. Their tactics and inspiration will boost the efforts of those in the current research program.
Let me push in here to comment. There are many untold stories about whether or not any of these things were tested. Flaws, inefficiencies, exploding prototypes. Tip, the focus on safety and practicality is always overrun by the need for speed.
Well, then I would assume then that it is safe to say that the real question is, at what cost is the construction of this weapon worth its price in labor and lives?
Now, Tip, I can't help but think that your statement is just a little too bold. Safety and practicality have always been a priority. There's no need to announce that authorities have no real interest in the welfare of their employees. What we're doing here is both constructive and supplemental to the needs of the Imperial fleet.
Look, I'm a contractor, and I know what it means to be a priority to the Empire. And as for being constructive, let me ask you this. How many starships do you think you could add to the fleet out of the metal that you are proposing is needed to rebuild?
You aren't even looking at the bigger picture or the power that is possessed within this battle station.
I say it again, this is not what the Galactic Fleet needs. I know about this kind of employment, and I can tell you that even with the benefits of droid labor, you will find that the effort needed from the human and alien race alike is incomprehensible.
Listen, it is important to intimidate those that are in opposition. It is a fact that fear is instilled into the hearts of the rebels from the mere sight of our Death Star. And I intend to see the same look come across their faces when they see the next one. And I would firmly consider that we are taking a step forward here. I mean, look at us. We threaten plant's entire existence with a push of a single button.
The news tells me otherwise, Evan. It looks as if the Empire is on the trail of the rebel fleet right now, and this pursuit is stronger than it has ever been before. What's to say that they will be able to continue after their funding is scrapped for this huge project? I think that there is more success in the mobility of the fleet, not in one vessel having more firepower than all of them combined. And the materials that we're going to use could provide Lord Vader with an additional regiment that can follow his lead.
Yes, you have mentioned the material issue earlier, but I think that you underestimate the power of the Empire and its military. We do not cancel orders because we are afraid the resources won't be there. In my book, that is a failure, and that is unacceptable. We have no problem getting what we need to further our fight against the pathetic rebellion.
We are a little off track here, so here's another question for you. What are the precautions we would need to make in order to keep this concealed from the rebellion?
Well, I think that something we have to consider is that we cannot easily hide this thing. Wherever we build it, the rebels are going to spot it with ease.
Come on, Gum. Do a little reading inside those manuals that we've handed out to you. It has a lot to say in there about the Maw, and as you will learn, the Maw is a cluster of black holes. And as we did with the last star, we will do again. There's plenty of locations out there to fall into to keep this project completely unbeknownst to any rebel scum.
The Maw, and I suppose that you're aware of the rare occasion of finding a stable area within one of those things for construction. The one that Governor Tarkin was so graced with no longer exists. Also, that manual fails to mention the fact that safe passage through the Maw is impossible to calculate. In fact, it's suicidal.
All right, well, we hope to see the final results and what the fleet thinks about this, so take our poll and tell us what you think. We will view the results at the conclusion of our newscast today. Thank you for your time today, gentlemen. It would appear that both of you have very valid statements, and we look forward to your decision in the coming months. Traffic and weather conditions are up next with R2X2 after a word from the Empire.